start fights off as opposed to just kind of responding to them more often than not on the Viego. We are running things back pretty much exactly the same as game one.
Wait, like the exact same. There's been no change whatsoever. The bans are pretty similar as well from memory too.
That's the one thing I can't quite remember. It says the first 3 bans, but it's pretty close.
Look, the same pick there. That's what matters here. Now we know it was bottom lane supports. It was things like the Heimerdinger getting bad away against SwordArt. I think we even saw, Nautilus getting prioritized by Weibo Gaming as their 4th or 5th pick. Renekton ban against Weibo is definitely a big change.
So if you're gonna, so if you're banning away the Renekton, maybe you want a 4th pick Sion. Maybe that's the play, because you can kind of struggle in that individual matchup and kind of get put far behind before you can be like an adequate frontliner. We've seen definitely some Renektons fall off against that kind of matchup, but still, maybe that's the consideration, because that is one of ZDZ's top picks alongside the Jax, which has also been banned out. I actually wonder if Weibo should ban away the Sion now at this point. You're not... I mean, AL are going to have to blind pick their top laner anyway, but blind pick Sion here feels pretty valuable to them. I don't know why Weibo chose to deny that, I'm not going to lie. Yeah,
again, interesting considering that, the way game number 1 went, especially, and the versatility to show. We've got Ksante coming through, though, from AL. So already, we're getting a very different direction. Now, I don't know how Quinn goes against Ksante, but just an opportunity. It's a melee top laner. And he is quite tanky.
From experience playing the matchup, it gets a bit awkward because you overstep once, he pops his ult, and you kind of explode. Because Quinn has 1 volt, he has many dashes. Gets a little bit awkward after that point. Someone like a Gnar, much easier to survive in that matchup, so TheShy probably going back to that champion. It's just so much more stable in that top side. See what they're going to pair up with the Xayah as well. So last time it was that Nautilus gave Chris the ability to kind of snap engage on that champion, but into this team from AL now they actually have a frontliner, might be harder to play that Nautilus, because if you play that Naut, you dive into the Syndra, the Varus, and the Viego, you get killed very easily, you give that reset over. So picking the longer ranged, disruptive support of that Renata, I can understand why that change is coming from game 1 to game 2.
Okay, so interesting. It was a favorite of Chris, especially when it was in the meta. See what AL respond with, because the engage there, a little bit meddling. Nautilus up and available, Leona up and available, SwordArt. Is he going to go for a different direction? Especially when we normally see this with the Samira, but the Rell
there we go.
Locked in with the Varus.
I don't know about that one, because how are you dealing with LeBlanc? Who's going to stop Xiaohu just kind of pouncing forward and taking down someone like Betty or large amounts of HP on someone else? You're also, while you do have the ability to have your 1 big engage, you know what's really good against a singular big engage tool? It's the Xayah roll. You've got Renata, who's also going to be counter-engaging as well. I wonder if this Rell is a little too telegraphed on the engage to punish Weibo. I think, we have a very different set of compositions compared to game 1, but yeah, he's kind of like, he's had his fun. He's had like his contractually obligated Quinn game, I suppose. SwordArt, doing the W start on the Rell across the wall. Sometimes see that from those level 1s. Doesn't actually catch out Crisp at that point. And gives over a Spell Thief stat, importantly. Crisp, stacking up the support item, very important to know. Of course, as much as I joke about that, support items have been changed a little bit on this patch, which is why we're seeing a few more of the melee supports as opposed to the dominance of the ranged AD carry or enchanter supports coming through, because it's a little slower to stack up your support item for the ranged ones, the Spectral Sickle and the Spell Thief's Edge, and there's a bit more stats added onto the melee components as well. It just gives you a bit more survivability to play something like a Rell and not get absolutely blasted in laning phase and snowballed on.
Guardian going to be there. So we got lethal tempo here for Xayah. Nothing really out of the woodwork apart from Betty going for the comment here, which usually indicates we're going to have lethality Varus somewhere around.
So the last time we saw a LeBlanc, we actually saw, in the JDG series that they played, it was Shanks on Team WE that actually played Conqueror LeBlanc to play like stupidly dominant laning phase. We used to see that a bit in stuff like Galio. Showmaker very famously ran that at one of his Worlds runs. It's just gonna, obviously not relevant here, just wanted to talk about it because I like talking about Strange Runes. Very standard across the board though.
No, again, I feel like even back we saw, I was going to say Klepto LeBlanc was a thing in the LPL that popped its head in.
Yeah, that was too. Yeah.
I miss that rune so much, man. I mean...
No, you don't.
Yes,
you
I do.
You miss it.
Klepto
You think you miss it. I don't think you did. Yes, that was the problem. How do you not see this being the problem? Like, we're going to have words about this.
Dude, how can I not see it being the problem? Have you seen the new Aurelion Soul? You know, there are other things to be concerned
very true.
about.
That's okay. One evil does not like excuse another.
That's
in this
right.
case. When we had to suffer through top lane Victor, kleptomancy, and stuff like that, I don't know. I think you forfeit your rights to like talk about that rune being an okay one. Back to the game at hand. Of course, we do have 2 early game skirmishing junglers in the Viego Lee Sin. This matchup is one that has been well-trodden ground over the last couple of seasons, but we haven't seen as much in spring 2023. Once you hit level 3, though, these champions kind of like what we're seeing from some of our other jungle matchups in regards to Viego wants to be counter-ganking, Lee Sin wants to be the one aggressing, Chris wants to be the one aggressing as well, flash for flash. But Xiaohao in the right position to respond to a plate. That's going to be very important to check, because Karsa has the ability to aggress very effectively.
It's a flash as well. Sonic Wave, beautifully done. Xiaohu setting up first blood with a brilliant flash.
Oh, Xiaohu Karsa didn't really get to play around the mid-jungle TV2 in Game 1. Game 2 coming out all guns blazing. And this is that jungle matchup which we were just talking about.
Yep.
Lee Sin is the aggressor, Viego needs to be in place to respond, and Xiaohao was not there to match the counter blow that time.
Well, in the bottom lane, let's see if anything can be done as a response. Is for Betty looking for that blade caller to come through. Good poke in response, but Light's going to be A-okay for now, as on the bottom side, they know that Xiaohao's somewhere in that river. And so for Light and Crisp, they just play it back for the time being with Karsa moving down. Trying to get a response here.
Yeah, but Viego's here this time. I think you're here just... Oh, that flash
With the
forward.
commit from SwordArt as well. All they need is a root, Sonic Wave, root caller, down it goes Xiaohao in a 1 versus 3. SwordArt has done this so many games, and we're just back to square one again.
And last game, Weibo bought into bot side fights that they couldn't play around. They couldn't end up really finishing off those kills. Game 2, so very different. This is going to be a blueprint of what we're going to see later into the game. Rell trying to just out-hand TheShy. Light, if he doesn't have the reactions, yeah, this play is great. But you're in the LPL, baby. These AD carries, these players, they have those reaction timings. They have those abilities to kind of disengage from these plays. And Rell doesn't have a secondary form of engage. You miss that combo, you're done.
And you missed everything with the engage there, plus you burned the flashes. SwordArt down with flash. Betty burned his flash before, thanks to Chris setting up with the flash handshake. Xiaohao now without his summoner as well. Luckily, Xiaohu burned his in the kill in that first blood towards mid, but still, against the LeBlanc here, Nightmare, it's going to be really hard now for Xiaohao to get some pace in this game.
Yeah, when you have mid-jungles like Lee Sin, LeBlanc, Syndra, Ahri, you know, these big snowbally AP assassins, plus their kind of like follow-up junglers, single kills tend to stick.
Yeah.
Because with someone like a LeBlanc as well, if you get ahead of the game, you get to jump forward, and that poke becomes kill threat. When you start jumping forward and the chain connects, you have to have a flash available, or Lee Sin just straight up kills you, and stuff like this. Pingsy cannot stand here. He cannot be in lane. He doesn't have the teleport. Even though you are backing on a cannon wave, you normally want to do that in mid lane because it makes it you lose less minions to tower. It's just being put behind, and you can't afford to do that as AL. If you're getting put behind at this point of the game, it's going to be rough when it comes to the first objective fights that you realistically want to be playing.
Ooh, we do have level 6 in the top lane though in the meanwhile. There's going to be the all-out from ZDZ versus TheShy. This 1v1 ulti back. ZDZ ready for the flip back. TheShy needs to dodge this. He has flash. He burns it. He gets out. And ZDZ takes his summoner away.
Yeah, summoner trade, ult trade. Shy goes into the wave, kills some minions to get that level 6 to make sure that he can survive the ongoing trade. Karsa is back up here now. ZDZ, no ult, no ghost, no mobility, no mana as well, actually. Sometimes I forget that Ksante is actually a mana champion because his mana costs are very low. Doesn't have much available to him. Only has the 30 mana on hand. Karsa just going to back away.
Meanwhile, bottom side, Xiaohao's in the brush. Chris might be in trouble. No flash available. Rooted up. There's the crash down that we're waiting for. SwordArt connects it, and Chris takes it a little bit of a while to die, but he does die in the end, and Xiaohao finally gets his retribution.
And that's the brighter side of Rell. If you don't have flashes, you don't have Xayah ult, engage is much more easy to land. AL going to have to be punishing those lack of summoners whenever they find them. Top side of the map have their own base mobility. That bot lane TV2, not the same amount, but Pingsy, he currently has his flash. You might have to play with it quite liberally to try and outplay situations if they aggress.
Nightmare, because Lens was used before, but Xiao didn't actually get the full length of the brush. But anyway,
Oh, I actually didn't see that. I actually didn't see it. That's important to note. Yeah, okay. A bit of a
yoke.
the false positive where you think, oh, it's definitely not warded, but actually no, it's just a mis-execution. Doesn't quite get around that. Good play from Xiaohao to just get into the lane, get into the brush, get that kill. SwordArt punishing the lack of flashes. We've seen this both games now. Weibo having their bot lane in an awkward state in terms of the wave. It's pushing away from them. It's kind of trapped them inside the lane. They go up to contest. It's greedy contest and they die for it. It's happened a couple of times now.
Well, the Spider, nothing getting through mid. At least we saw in the replay that bot goes down. That Xiaohao is able to get his first kill of the game here in a game that, excuse me, he's slowly losing out with a couple of ganks that Karsa punched his way in on. And as we look at this game state, bot's in a massive lead right now. I mean, even mid feels like it's going to grow more as Xiaohu continues to threaten, with Pinsy having to back away from lane yet again. There's no CS lead here, but there may as well be one with all the pressure that Xiaohu's been exuding in this early lane thanks to Karsa getting set up from the early gank.
Yeah. And with Herald spawning, being forced out of lane like that means you can't just push in and shove towards the Herald. You've lost vision control on the side of the map as well. Even early into the game, you've got 2 control wards around that Herald pit. You've lost the early dragon. AL, last game, they wanted to stack up those objectives. Similarly, in this game, you probably do only be fighting around those objective pits with kind of Syndra and Varus set up to try and catch someone out on Weibo. It's not going to be nearly as easy to do that in this game, though, where we're taking early objectives on both sides of the map.
Okay, so Xiaohao just taking away the camps in the meantime while that is done. Light's going to be able to get some gold back in as Herald just goes down. Simply put, gives him an early recall as well as Xiaohao still hovers around. SwordArt threatens away for the dive, and Weibo do give respect here, especially with Pinsy moving down first.
That's the important bit, because if it's just SwordArt, you can get away with the Xayah ult nowadays. Maybe Crisp dies early, but with the amount of feathers put down while he's dying, maybe Light can turn things around. With someone else nearby, whether that's a Viego or a Syndra, Light needs to be much more respectful. 1 CC, much easier to dodge than a handful of real kill threat CC coming through. But as it stands, they actually do show the respect this time, which they didn't do in a couple of early game situations. And gonna back away. You know, quick aside, you see that sweeper there? One thing which has actually changed, we talked about sweepers a little earlier, sweepers actually changed slightly on this patch as well, where if you sweep over a ward, instead of it showing up in like the red silhouette, it's actually a blue silhouette, so you don't get confused with things. I particularly enjoy, because a lot of ward skins look... Yeah, because sometimes you've got like a mini like Teemo-shaped ward, you're like, hang on, that's a champion in that brush. It's kind of nice to see that change. Nice quality.
Yeah, because I was just like, why is it blue? But you're right, it is a good one. As Karsa gets kicked back, hang on a minute, mistake galore.
He's blue, Dabba died.
He's dead, yeah.
Yeah. How it goes to the bot side. Light picks up that money, and this bot lane disparity, which we've seen with that kill, of course was evened up a little bit with the wave being shoved into tower by anyone's legend. Herald very much puts Xayah back up onto the lead, and if Xayah is already going to be in a position where they can disengage from the Rell easy, this means he has to blow that flash. So annoying for the Syndra to play this game with so much lacking pressure. But giving gold over to that Xayah when they're already going to be the person you need to catch, and it's very hard to do so, very dangerous for AL at this point.
It's a struggle right now for Xiaohao. You know, through bot, his consistency has not been rewarded. He's consistently been bot every single waking moment he can, but nothing's happened. As you were saying, there's only the crisp kill that went over to him. And Zowie tries to get something towards mid, jumping back. Xiaohao does not agree. Going back to the clone as he runs towards the top side. TheShy, help me, brother. Will TheShy come down, or will Xiaohao just find a flash route down? Easily done with a second kill going to Xiaohao.
Okay, so another kill over to Xiaohao. Of course, he had 2 in that first game. Couldn't make the most of them, but in this game, making it much easier to actually team fight on that Viego. So as much as we've sung the praises of Weibo for a lot of what they've done in this early game, especially compared to that last one, Viego suddenly a threat again. And AL, not to hit the point too heavily, have largely succeeded when Xiaohao has started snowballing these games.
That is my Raptor says Karsa. He smites it away, gets a steal. Xiaohao, oh, the emote, the sad teacup thrones are out as TP comes through towards mid. Karsa had a great gank towards bottom lane. I mean, Pinsy's walking into
in trouble here. He doesn't have flash. This is very dangerous.
Xiaohao thought that Karsa's just walking back. Pinsy also spotted right here as all Xiaohu needs to do is get the stun up.
Oh no. This is bullying.
so patiently.
No,
There we go.
he went for the cannon.
And it was Scat of the Week that was used as well. Xiaohao close to getting a solo kill, rather Xiaohu. Xiaohao won't be able to participate, and another kill over to Karsa.
How do you play this lane as PingZ? Every single wave you are being forced off of. You're being threatened. Karsa being everywhere he needs to be. He's had a heck of a lot of players in the game this split so far. Karsa, a lot of people were kind of saying, oh, you know, he's had a difficult kind of like summer of last year. You know, what's this play going to do coming into this year as well? But Karsa is still Karsa, by the way. He just has this ability to really pop off in these games.
Yeah, game 1 was a little bit quiet from him, but yeah, game 2 is just so much better here. And it feels nice to see, especially since I'm the same champion, more of a performance here as after the Dragon goes down, and the second one at that for Weibo Gaming. AL come in a little bit late looking for a pick off the back end, but Weibo stick together, they move away, they spawn themselves a Cloud Rift here with third Dragon on the way in 5 minutes. Now it goes up the top side, all out, the flash away from TheShy. ZDZ under turret, took 2 turret shots, hop from TheShy, he gets his boomerang back, he's about to go into Gnar as Karsa gets kicked on the Xiaohao. This time he used the Unbreakable, or rather the ulti, but Chris won't let him move. Karsa with kill number 4 as Mr. Heartbreaker himself is down with the feathers, not hitting max range. Karsa not killing SwordArt here, and the bottom lane in the same fell swoop have been sent packing too.
It's a really sad kill to give over. You've just given up that Dragon. Maybe there's a chance to kind of pick off Weibo and retreat from it, but overplayed their hand a little bit on this bot side of the map. Did anyone's legend. Jungler goes down. TheShy survives the all-in on the top side. Actually, very damn near turns it around to a solo kill of his own. TheShy actually having surprisingly... no, I'm not going to say surprisingly. He's had a very good series compared to some of the series we've seen from him a little in the past. Xiaohu in the second game, picking up from where his solo laner kind of started off in that game 1 and really putting on a show with Karsa.
Great sync up so far. Weibo looking clean. It's a 2,500 gold lead in 14 minutes. You've now got double Dragons sitting pretty with them as well. Next Herald comes up in about 35 here, Nomira, and as turret plating goes down, we have full items across the board apart from our supports, but we know that right now Karsa is deadly here. With Gore Drinker sitting with pretty big lead individually with a 400 gold bounty. Karsa is showing up everywhere on the map, as you were saying earlier on.
Yeah, and what that means realistically is that Betty is going to be under so much threat than Light, unless Light just really misplays situations. Actually, think about it, with the poke Varus, maybe things get a little difficult if enough arrows land. But still, I mean, Karsa having so much gold threatens the backline of Anyo's Legend in a way that Light just won't have to worry about in the same way. When we're leading up to objectives like the second Herald, it really is on a huge flank play from someone like SwordArt to catch them out, but he's the one caught out right now.
And he's kicked back as well. Light jumps in, SwordArt pretty close to dying, but meanwhile Karsa has to go into the bailout, but he will not be saved. All for SwordArt, who takes a blast cone, puts himself in harm's way, but the play's done, and just like that, Weibo play it too close to the chest.
They do, and I mean, Xiaohu is not on the same side of the map, doesn't have the teleport. You're looking for opportunistic plays from Weibo, but they just overestimate themselves a little bit. Was actually very close to being killed on SwordArt. Bailout could have come through at that point, but as it stands, Anyo's Legend, they get themselves a kill onto the board. They get that shutdown, which goes over to this Viego. We've already talked about being a carry from that jungle, and Xiaohao being important to Anyo's Legend success when they have found them, few and far between though they may be. Gonna go back into a replay to see exactly how this works. I think a big part of this is actually Betty just standing around the corner, because with him staying there, standing there, you can see that Light is actually very afraid to walk up and to try and DPS, because if a ult lands from Varus, despite having that cleanse, you don't really want to be in that very dangerous position. So Betty doing well to kind of just threaten a little bit to allow SwordArt the angle to escape.
A big mistake, excuse me, from Karsa. As you were saying, put Xiaohao in a position where he can actually start throttling this game a little bit, put himself in control, and maybe next Dragon isn't as clear favourites for Weibo Gaming as it was before the players. First turret blood is going to go to AL on the bottom side as well. They're catching up in gold as Chris ulti onto PingZ forces the flash. Good move here from Weibo Gaming as they try and open up TheShy's lane yet again here to be a clear-cut outer turret going down for him at the 16-minute mark.
PingZ really not had a fun time this game. Every time he walks into a lane, Weibo have been very hot on his heels to try and force him out of that lane, force him off of the wave, force him into Dying, blowing flash. But as it stands, at least he's able to pick up one wave towards that top side. Got a dragon spawning in 30 seconds. Would be soul point for Weibo. It is that Cloud Soul. That's all not irrelevant in this game, particularly when you've got such highly mobile topside champions like the Gnar, Lee Sin, and that LeBlanc. AL, though, walking towards this objective to try and deny them getting closer towards that soul. Stacking up, although ZDZ not currently here.
Scat of the week. Xiaohu almost in a bit of trouble. Karsa saves his life. And with that damage, maybe AL have enough pressure and enough of an advantage themselves to lead into the start of this Cloud Dragon.
Yeah, watch where the next arrows land. Betty needs to start doing some work on this poke Varus. It's not the on-hit of game one. Only briefly talked about that one, but these land onto the right targets. Maybe Weibo don't have the chance to really just fist fight them in the river. As it stands, not many have landed.
TheShy is going into Mega Gnar though, has flash available. Keep an eye on this Gnar, positioning around the wing.
Yeah, this is full health Weibo. This is dangerous for AL.
AL are looking to start this dragon up, but Xiaohu's angle beautiful as well. TheShy's running out of a Mega Gnar bar though. And as Xiaohu gets spotted out here on the wing, TheShy's Gnar bar has been patiently kept adrift. And AL are looking to now use this timing to start up the dragon.
Yeah, so Light gonna go push in that mid wave. Look to take down this mid lane out of turret as well. Yeah, that Mega Gnar being down, very important for Weibo. Some of their engage options really lacking. They're looking for the poke, looking for Xiaohu to do something special.
Karsa hasn't landed any rather, or TheShy hasn't either. Him. There's a flash. Chris setting up the hostile takeover. Does find himself Betty on the wing, but it's not too much to look at. As meanwhile, Xiaohu's caught out and he's dead. No jungler. Karsa gets the dragon steal, and it's already a 5 versus 4 with SwordArt frontlining. Left alone, the kickback onto ZDZ, who alled out about a century late. And now TheShy, do you think he cares about the turret? He's got a double kill. He wants the quad. You can see them flexing already. There's Pinzy and Betty about to count their lucky stars. Pinzy's had a rough game of it as they zone them away. TheShy won't be jumping under that turret for today as the fight still goes over. The dragon still goes over. Weibo Gaming take back the threshold of this game.
Yeah, it's still a really big play. Xiaohu sees Betty, has a flash.
He's gonna die. Betty, 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 Betty. Bye-bye. Betty, bye, Betty, bye, Betty, bye. Yes, there he goes.
That's one way to describe it, as Betty heads towards the death chamber. Xiaohu really clean on that. As soon as that chain connects, knows that one flash will not save Betty. Doesn't have any extra mobility, doesn't have a cleanse. No getting out of that one, despite the good turnaround damage. So, Weibo, grand total of that is a host of kills. Soul point achieved. Mid lane tower also chunked out in the setup for this play as well. This starts from Light just positioning in such a good way to correct. Again, Light only needs to be worried of the Rell. As long as you have ult, this Rell is going to really, really struggle to make the game-winning engages. And this is why we're a little bit confused by why this champion was locked in. We know it's a SwordArt favorite, but still, Light just in a position to keep chunking out this DPS. Had a load of Herald plating chucked towards him before. 2-0-4 now after that fight. AL, after throwing that fight into the hands of Weibo, really not sure how they're going to approach the rest of this game.
But that's the thing as well. I wouldn't even call it a SwordArt favorite. I would call a SwordArt favorite Leona. Like, this guy likes playing engages, and yeah, he likes having directional advantages for his team. He is most likely the shot caller of AL. Is Betty? Is he ready to die again? Yes, he is. The Prowler's Claw doesn't get him anywhere near out of that. As look, the man we're just talking about, how are you going to direct this? Karsa's almost dead. Gets a reset as the kinematics come through from the Magnet Storm, but SwordArt now out as Xiaohao going in. Ambitious to say the least. TheShy is about to come over the wall, but not as of yet. The ward cleared away. ZDZ having to be careful. Jungler for AD carry. At least AL were able to get a trade.
Yeah, and the big difference there is that Light wasn't in position to do DPS. Light.
Mega! Here he comes. TheShy. Hello, peekaboo. Well, just get them off the turret.
Yeah, free objective for that one. Despite losing one of their own in that last play. Not going to dissuade Weibo from pushing forwards. And now AL, they have some vision left over on the enemy side of the map, but it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle, really, to try and get the summoners away in the first stage of a fight to then try and land a knockout blow in the extra part of it. Luckily, in this case, Light was out of position to do any big damage, but Betty was the one who was first out of position. Xiaohu really had Betty's number in the last to play. Betty tries to crowd his claw. Shenanigans his way out of Karsa's damage, but sadly not to be for him. Syndra's single target burst Of course, very, very powerful, but not enough to win the fight, just to get one kill. Again, very lucky for them that TheShy and Light were not in a position to have big turnaround damage of their own.
Otherwise, it could have been a lot worse. As you said, you know, 6,000 gold lead here. Dragon Soul's coming up in a minute 30 for Weibo. And this team looking a lot more promising throughout the early to mid game. In, yes, a very different style of composition, but still a composition that we know for Weibo Gaming did rely on mid-jungle quite a bit there. We talked a lot about Xiaohu and Karsa, what they could do in game one. Didn't see too much of it. A bit more of a quiet pace early game, riddled with mistakes. But this time around, Xiaohu and Karsa have been putting on a clinic, and it feels like the rest of the map's been benefiting from it, Nightmare. It feels like the rest of the map, as they group up and play off the back of those picks, have been able to accelerate this game and put some of these carries like Light in such great positions here now at the 23-minute mark.
Yeah, and you know, you look at kind of like who is the supporting cast in this game compared to game one. It's kind of flipped the script from the first game. And, you know, I'm fairly confident saying, I think Weibo, of our top teams, are the most versatile team out of our top echelon of teams in the LPL.
Yeah.
Shown an awful lot of different stuff. Very consistencies of it, but still, the difference is there. The versatility is there. Dragon Soul, it would be for Weibo, spawning in 20 seconds. They're going to have to muscle their way into the river. Shy pounding on the top turret until the fight comes.
They got Xiaohu's Banshee's Veil. I think when we're looking at this team, that's pretty important. As Chris flashes away, gets actually out for the time being, and with a kick out through, Chris is going to be taken down for the reset. Xiaohao now has an opportunity, but he's just bursted down by Light. He's on enemy lines and just kiting it out. Is he going to survive? You know the answer is no, as Karsa jumps on in onto SwordArt. Xiaohu jumps in, and TheShy is rejoined with a TP. Scatter the Weak ain't going to connect on him, and in fact, Weibo Gaming lose 2 for the price of 1. That ain't business.
It's not the early game mistakes which strike Weibo in this game. It's a pretty big mistake in the mid game. Xiaohu jumping forward, trying to clear out some vision, spare some of the blushes of Weibo. At least the enemy jungler is dead from anyone's legend, means that they can't realistically go up towards this dragon as Karsa walks over to start it up, maybe trying to call AL's bluff. He is currently behind the rest of the team and his ult's coming up.
SwordArt is low, and Gnar's coming. Now, if a team's going to 4v3 this, I can see it. Karsa with the kick of Veil.
Karsa!
Oh, the kick's great, and TheShy into the wall. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Hello, Shy. Pin Z versus Xiaohu happens on the bottom of our screen. Well, meanwhile, TheShy's actually just dead. ZDZ gets a beautiful knockback onto Crisp as well. And anyone's legend, come out of the depths of despair and say howdy.
Oh, it starts with such a good hero play from Karsa, but then ZDZ turns on the ult. ZDZ has some extra things to say to Weibo at the back end of that fight. Xiaohu trying to secure the dragon, will not do so. Secured by Xiaohao, so no early soul for Weibo. The last couple of fights, not been clean from Weibo. First, Light caught out of position, not able to do the damage he wants to. This is a fight which Weibo choose to take. Maybe they were trying to find something just before Viego could turn up. Yeah, Viego's not there, but the show's just completely taken out of the equation. You can't stand next to walls against Ksante. It just carries you completely out of that fight. Very frustrating champion, but you can very much see what you can do to kind of like create these isolated fights as that top laner.
I was wondering, like, how did they get all the way over there? But of course, Ksante took them there, like.
Yeah.
The range of that
at this point, I
beautiful.
really want to see like a tour bus driver Ksante where it's like, we're going on a trip, you and I. It just kind of takes you to see the stars. Maybe you know what you could do? You could have Trucker Ksante. You could also have like a whole new world Ksante as well. Like he takes her like a singing duet. It's like go on a magic carpet ride just over to the other side of the map. We're going to the other side of the map now though. Baron, now the object of fascination is the only objective left. Currently, Light, no flash, no cleanse, does of course have his ultimate available, but SwordArt has a much easier time trying to shut him down than he would have done previously. And another big thing to talk about, Xiaohu! He's become an avid reader. He's picked up a Magi Soul Steel, one of my very favorite items in the game. 14 stacks on it. Xiaohu's had a good game so far, and he's going to really start popping heads if he gets on top of people.
Yeah, not dying, I guess. Massive benefit there is TheShy's going to find Pin Z with a well-placed ward. Weibo Gaming are taking the Baron in the meanwhile, but DDD has the teleport advantage. Pin Z as well. A little bit dangerous here as Pin Z starts moving towards mid. And for AL, a steal attempt. The teleport's going to be burned. TheShy has to walk over. Is it done? Karsa gets it. And Crisp out with a hostile takeover just in case. Baron, no steal.
Oh, AL. once again, they don't get their timings right on Baron. We saw it when they were the ones trying to finish the Baron in Game 1 against the Quinn. Quinn turned up before they were ready. Game 2, they don't turn up in time to stop Weibo. They had a teleport on Pinzi. Wasn't there in time though. Chooses to hold on to that summoner. Maybe thought he had a couple of extra seconds, but not the case. Now Weibo, they pounced despite a couple of lost fights in a row, and they are now in commanding position of this game. TheShy goes back, picks up a hull breaker, has the Baron buff minions to play around as well. AL, that is a crucial misstep in what was otherwise an okay series of plays for them.
Which could have been, again, another winnable game. AL near the bottom of the table for a reason. 2-8 for a reason. Again, sounds harsh, but when we have 17 teams in the LPL, it's very easy to distinguish who are our teams who are not making playoffs. Folks, you need every win as AL from this point, because the max they can hit is only 8 individual series wins. Playoffs usually is guaranteed 100% in any LPL given split at 9. AL can no longer hit that. If they lose this series, this is, like FPX, another team that will not be getting playoffs here in this split, as Pinzi tries to scatter the week.
Banshees is gone.
AL trying to bait him. LeBlanc, things are happening, but look at the rest of the map. Look at the rest of the map. You're chasing a LeBlanc. You don't get the stun down. You're chasing a LeBlanc. AL, stop it. Betty has to flash away while Weibo with Baron are breaking their base while we start doing the doobity-doobity dance.
I mean, he did this to buy time for TheShy in the last game. Lights just popped.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, that's what happens in the... No, hang on, we're not putting spoilers out. Great anime, go watch Death Note as AL looking for a pick here onto Xiaohu while Baron's hitting away. TheShy's in the base, though. So even though Light got popped, they're still going to lose an in-hit.
Well, Xiaohu's looking like he likes some red apples, trying to collect some more stacks, but he gets stunned this time.
Okay, will they be able to finally kill him? Somebody help. Heartbreaker was used onto Xiaohu's clone, and he just walks it off.
No, yeah, not able to get shut down in that one. Plays the baiting game so well. Xiaohu has just been so good at just matching eyes with AL and just saying, all right then, see what you can get out of me. Playing that kind of game. Pinzi has ult. I don't think he wants to jump into this one, not gonna lie. No, he will literally die to like Q ult here. He can't afford to jump forward. As much as he's been feeling it the last minute or two,
TheShy's still in the base. TheShy is still here.
This guy! I mean, it doesn't look like it's got feathers, but he's playing like he did with the Quinn in Game 1, just being a nuisance on a side lane. He's got Baron buff, he's got the Hull Breaker. So many people have to respond to him, and they can't because of the shenanigans being played by Xiaohu on the other side of the map.
He's just chilling rent-free in the enemy base. Dragon's up in 5 seconds, and with the TP coming through from Weibo, they want this Cloud Soul. They lost the last opportunity, but this one looks pretty done deal.
Yeah, like, this is more than just, like, living rent-free. He's, like, in their walls. He's just taken up residence within anyone's Legends base. He's like, all right, okay, gonna have to evict at some point, and they don't have the stats for it. They don't have the ability to really force him out of their base because he is so strong in that 1vx scenario. Xiaohu playing with fire once again, but more than happy to do so.
Oh, SwordArt, I don't know what he was trying to do there as he flashes over for the kinematics yet again. SwordArt making a bit of a mistake, and AL getting blasted here in a choke as Light used his ulti this time around. Will he get the blade caller out? No. The all-out use EDZ taken on in 1v4. He's still alive. Ksante things again as Chris is now in full threat, but they take care of business as TheShy has flash, has ulti.
He's still in your walls!
It's the mind games, not using anything, because he's going to wait until next game or next series. Never mind. Gets both of them, and just like that, Weibo going to end this game. No reset here as Xiaohao finds himself one. Weibo might have a bit of a struggle to pick up the game, as I did not know Viego got Hull Breaker as a fake mini-nar, but then again he gets all the items, and now he gets all the death as well. SwordArt just respawned. Simply to die 0, 5, and 6 as Weibo have shown us again the difference in strength between them and anyone's legend. They'll move to 7 wins, they'll move closer to the top of the standings, and anyone's legend, it looks like this is just going to be one of those splits.
Yeah, SwordArt offline, not written in the death note on that Nexus, but still has to watch his Nexus fall. And it is another 2-0 for Weibo. They have now had, in their last 6 series, 2-0s either for them or against them. 4-2, 4 victories in those 2-0s, 2 losses against TT and LNG. But still, Weibo showing that on the right form, on the right day, they can look very unique in the LPL. They're one of our most characterful teams, very versatile, very able to play around their solo lanes, very